If you take a wander down the back drive of Campbell, you will walk past this bank. Perhaps you have never noticed its unusual shape and undulating landscape. This is because built into the drive are 5 Anderson air raid shelters, which were built in 1938 and 1939 as the threat of World War II loomed. Each of the shelters could house up to 50 boys, and parents were asked to contribute £1 towards the £290 expense. The Campbellian magazine of that year boasted of the shelters' deep cellars, fully sandbagged and lit by electricity. The boys are particularly fortunate in their refuge. Indeed, Campbell was lucky to possess the shelters. 3 were built by pupils themselves, and they were only constructed because the then headmaster, William Duff Gibbon, foresaw the possibility of air raids in the war and wanted to take action to protect the pupils. At the time, shelters were not mandatory requirements in schools or workplaces. The photographs of boys entering the shelters are not, however, from the actual raids during the war. Instead, they depict the air raid drills, in which William Gibbon would sound the alarm at any time of the day or night, and the boys had to practice evacuating the college within 2.5 minutes. In fact, the shelters were never actually used by the pupils. This is because, at the onset of the war, Gibbon offered the school to the War Office to be used as a hospital for recovering soldiers. Pupils were evacuated up to Portrush, where their education continued in the Northern Counties Hotel. Meanwhile, Nissan huts were erected across the grounds to house the ever-growing number of servicemen sent to Campbell for treatment and retraining. In total, 34,000 soldiers passed through here during the conflict. The school was adapted to suit the needs of the wounded, with a slope leading up to the dining hall, allowing ambulances to offload patients on stretchers, and the classrooms off Central Hall being used as wards for recovering soldiers. It should be pointed out that although there were no pupils at Campbell during the war, and so the air raid shelters were not called into use, this does not mean that Campbell was immune from the ongoing Belfast Blitz. On the night of the 4th of May 1941, the Luftwaffe cluster-bombed East Belfast, possibly targeting the Stormont buildings down the road. However, a stray bomb landed at the current site of the headmaster's study, resulting in 19 deaths. These were all patients and medical staff at the field hospital. Of course, as well as the school itself being used during the war, Campbell played its part in the Second World War in another way. 102 Campbellians fought in the British Army against the Nazis and died in service. Their names are recorded on the World War II Memorial in Central Hall, alongside the inscription, "My sword I give to him that shall succeed me in my pilgrimage. My courage and skill to him that can get it. My marks and scabs I carry with me."